This is Mastering Menopause. By using fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset, you can master your hormones and get your body back. I'm Kathy Cote with Catalyst Fitness and Nutrition. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to Mastering Menopause. It has been a hot minute since I have done a podcast, so I apologize. I'm just gonna bring it back to 1 day a week, guys, because committing to 2 days a week just wasn't working for me. But I thought I had shared this. I had done a presentation back in May on how to lose 5 to 7 pounds in 14 days. And I realized that I never shared it with you guys. So this is a recording of that presentation on how to lose 5 to 7 pounds in 14 days. I know that people are interested in doing that, and I just want to show you what that process is. And just matter of fact, I have about 7 clients that are starting this protocol again tomorrow. So we're going live on September 8th, and the ladies, they are so stoked in there. I just did a thing on my stories about using aggressive protocols, about using this rapid fat loss protocol. It's 2 different things. So rapid fat loss protocol is where you can lose 5 to 7 pounds in 14 days, where an aggressive protocol would be for somebody that has a more significant amount of weight to lose. And I was talking to this woman today. She would like to lose 45 pounds. And I said, do you know what's the timeline? Like, how long do you expect that to take? And I fully expect it to take a year. And I'm like, what if you could do it in 6 months? And tell me more. And so I ran her numbers through the aggressive fat loss calculator that we use, and she has the potential to lose anywhere from 4 to 7 pounds per week. Now, that doesn't mean that she's going to lose that every single week, right? That's just not how the aggressive dieting formula works. So I think for her protocol, like, I would have to talk to her. I've sent her a prediction and see what does she have going on. But in this case, it would be like 3 weeks on, and then you take a little break, and then 3 weeks on. But we also have to see like what is going on, so she can lose a significant amount of weight each week. So there's a distinct difference between an aggressive approach and this rapid fat loss approach. But guys, I am all about the get in and get out approach. The more that I see it working for my clients, the more excited that they are. I know for myself, me doing this, like, I love this approach, and I was nervous, like, with the narrative, like, hey, if you lose weight fast, you're just gonna gain it back. That's not true. You know, if you lose weight slow, you can gain it back just as well if you don't change your lifestyle or your habits. And here's the thing, because this is like a huge pattern interrupt. You have got to change your lifestyle and habits when you go through a protocol like this. And so it just makes it so much easier. And so a typical diet is like 1,500 calories. And then that gets old, it gets redundant, and we're losing like a pound a week, and sometimes we don't. And then we lose motivation. And so if you had 5 to 7 pounds to lose, say you wanted to lose 7 pounds. That's going to be 7 weeks. That's almost going to be 2 months of dieting for 7 pounds. And I don't think that you can stay adherent for that long, because you literally have to be in that deficit for those 7 weeks, which it's really not that hard, but things get loosey-goosey. Now, what about this? What if you could lose that 7 pounds in 14 days? Sign me up, right? Because yes, I can do this. And it's not even about white knuckling it. Like, honestly, the first 2-3 days is hard, but then it becomes easier. And then guess what? Now, when you have that 1,500 calories, you're like, whoa, this is a lot of food. And so my clients aren't feeling deprived going through this process. Yes, they're going to have to give up some things. They're probably not going out to restaurants for those 2 weeks. Is that something you can do? I think you can. So anyways, maybe you can't, right? Maybe that's like a hard no. And then this approach wouldn't be for you. But I think if you are motivated by fast fat loss, by a faster rate of fat loss, I, for one, think it's way better for your health to do this. Here's the thing. When you're on a 1500 calorie diet, like there's plenty of room for those wheat thins and a little bit of alcohol and stuff like that. When you are using more of an aggressive approach, guess what? We're taking all of that crap out. What's left? Vegetables, fruits, protein. It's very much a health phase. And so get in and get out. That is definitely my approach. And then we pull it back a little bit, right? So it's not like we're going full speed all the time, because I get it, right? There's life. And that's the whole point, so that we can get back to maintenance. And so anyways, here is my presentation. It's been a while. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions, if you want to know if this approach will be right for you, you can take my metabolic assessment to see if you are in a place to do this. I can also do a fat loss prediction for you. If you have, say, 15 to 50 pounds to lose, I can tell you how fast you can do that with a fat loss prediction. Now, don't just send me an email, hey, I just want to see, right? If you're freaking motivated and you're like, yeah, you know what, I think I want to see what this approach looks like, then send me a message and I'll do that. Because what I do is I run it through the calculator. It takes some time, and then I give you a Loom video on the results and then what that would entail. All right? Gosh, every time I get on a podcast, she gets her zoomies. All right, so without further ado, here's that presentation. I know exactly why you're here today, right? You know why you're here today. Because you're like, well, let's not pretend otherwise. You're like, you saw how to lose 5 to 7 pounds in 14 days, right? And you thought, yes, please, sign me up. And I get it. The promise of fast results is sexy. Getting those fast results is sexy. And our rapid fat loss protocol promises that. I don't know if you've seen my clients' progress with that 2-week protocol that we're doing. So we're going to be talking about that. But let me just be crystal clear. Your best body is not built during the time that you're dieting. All right. So let's just let that sink in for a bit, right? Because I know a lot of us have been on a diet since 2001, right? And that's a problem. So let me go ahead, share this. It's when you're fueling your body. It's when you're building muscle. It's when you're getting stronger in and out of the gym. That's how you build the body that you're looking for. If you're looking for any kind of like tone and definition and fat loss and taking off that lumpy, bumpy stuff off of your body and having that muscle, that time is going to be better spent. And most of the time, my clients are spending time out of a deficit. So this is just an approach that we take that's highly effective. But I know for myself, like I've done every single diet. All right. I've done every single diet. We all know damn how to restrict, right? That's not the issue. We know how to restrict ourselves. All right. But you've probably lost, if you're like me, you've probably lost the same 10 to 20 pounds more than once, right? Or we wouldn't be having this freaking conversation, right? So this sounds familiar, right? You're doing everything right and nothing is working. And that's because everything changes in menopause. And it's not that you're not disciplined. It's not a discipline problem, right? It's not a hormone problem. And don't give me that, hormones, right? It's not. It's something that will lead to the weight gain, but it's not the reason that you can't lose weight, all right? And I think it's mostly that we're just stuck in diet mode for way too long. And so I had this conversation with somebody just yesterday who just happens to be on this call. And what we do is we look up the calories that we need to lose weight. We've done it, right? You go, how do I lose a pound a week? Tell me my calories, right? And then you get that number. And then that's like the gospel. That's okay. That's how many calories I need to eat all the time. Usually it's around 1,400, maybe 1,500, maybe could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more. But we get stuck on this number of a deficit to lose a pound a week. And so then that becomes where we live. And now you're living in a deficit. And until it becomes too hard because like, okay. And so then we have those cycles, right? So I don't think that it's actually a weight loss problem that you have. It's a freaking maintenance problem because we know you can lose weight. We also know you can gain it, right? So we're having a maintenance problem rather than a weight loss problem. So I can guarantee you, you can lose weight, all right? But when you're bouncing between being on a diet or you're in that like F it mode, right? Past the wine and chips, then we're in this binge and restrict cycle, right? This is me to a T. I was constantly trying to be perfect, counting out my 12 little almonds during the week. And then on the weekends, it was like, oh, bets were off. And so as far as doing different approaches, like I have found this approach to be super effective for rapid fat loss. And I love using this approach for my clients just because it highlights a lot of the things that we're doing. But I don't just dump you into this protocol, right? So guess what? We're not starting this tomorrow. Okay? Because you're probably not ready, right? So there are definitely some prerequisites to do this. Now, some of you might be ready to do this, but what you're going to learn today is what our rapid fat loss protocol is, the process that we take our clients through to prepare their metabolism. Who's ready right now to lose 5 to 7 pounds in 14 days? You say you are. You're like, fuck yeah. We don't. And part of me, I'm sorry. I was in a restaurant for 3 years. I was a bartender. I will try and tone it down. But you're probably not ready, right? Unless you meet a prerequisite. So we're going to discuss who is ready. I didn't mean to pose that as a question. You guys were all raising your hands. That wasn't a question. We're going to also identify who needs to spend time in a primer phase to get yourself ready. And then we'll also discuss like, what does real food freedom look like to get you out of this on and off cycle, to get you out of this eating clean and doing your little intermittent fasting and having all these things that we're doing and just having a life where you can maintain your weight easily, not tracking, not trying to follow a certain diet or doing what Becky down the street did or trying to do keto or any of that crap, right? Just living like a normal person. Again, I always use this analogy, living like a man. Men don't do this shit, right? They do not go to a restaurant and order their burger with a lettuce freaking bun. They don't sit there and obsess over how many almonds they're going to have, right? Because they don't have to. They don't spend years and years focusing on their body, trying to diet down into a small version. They just live. So I don't mean to eat like a man. I'm just saying when you get to that food freedom, that's what it looks like. You can eat your maintenance calories. You can get away with more calories. You don't always have to be so strict with what you're doing. And so with our protocol, there is a period where we're going to be strict. That's not how my clients are losing their weight. And it's really just comes down to the fact that we've pulled that lever too many times. If you're in your 40s or 50s, you've been dieting for years, right? I have been in a diet before, right? So since I was 25, and then I had kids. And so my youngest was born in 2000. I literally have been in a diet since 2019, on or off a diet. And so we just pull that lever too many times. And what happens is you slow down your metabolism without even realizing it. And we blame it on menopause, right? But that really isn't what's going on. A lot of it has to do with lifestyle, right? You didn't break your metabolism, but because you've trained your body to live on less calories, that's what's going on. And I don't think anybody tells you that, right? When you eat less, your body just adapts. And then when you do more cardio, your body just becomes more efficient. So now you're eating 1,200 calories and you're still not seeing fat loss. So this is why we don't jump straight into fat loss. If you guys have been in a low-key diet, like we got to fix some things first before we do that. So we want to build up your metabolism first. We want to build up some consistency. And then, and only then, do we use a rapid fat loss to get the results fast, right? Yes, it is exciting. And yes, it's motivating. And yes, you can lose 5 to 7 pounds. Some of my clients lose more. I had Victoria lost 9 pounds. And then I had someone else, she just lost 8.6. So yeah, it's highly effective. But when we go to the model of why traditional dieting stops working this is what's going on. And we're just stuck in diet mode all the time. And so we have that slow metabolism, we have less muscle on our body, you're eating less, trying to move more, and you're still not losing. And so those old rules, the things that we used to do in our 30s and 40s, because we've all lost weight, we know how to lose the weight, it's just that it comes back, right? And every time you do that, you lose the weight and then you gain it back. You are literally putting more fat on your body because you lose the weight doing whatever the frick you did. And it was great. And then you gain the weight back. So you've lost muscle and fat using that protocol. And then the weight that you gain back, guess what? Is all fat. And so now we just have more fat on our bodies and less muscle. And that shit comes to a head in your 40, when you're about 45, right? When you're going through perimenopause, and then it becomes this freaking hormonal shitstorm where everything is coming all together, and all of a sudden, boom, right around your 50s, 47, 48, 49, you start to see all of a sudden, where the hell did this come from, right? This belly that we're holding on to. And so that's what's going on in menopause. It's not menopause that caused that, but that is the effects of your lifestyle and the way that you've been dieting and training. So we have to undo some of that stuff, right? So this is this is my coaching thing, right? We start everybody in a primer phase. And this is just to fuel your metabolism. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we're increasing protein. We want to strength train. We want to start tracking macros, and we want to get your energy stabilized. We want to make sure that your digestion is working, right? If you guys aren't pooping once a day, that's a problem. We want to make sure that you have good moods, again, plenty of energy. And then we can put you into phase 2 where we can maximize that fat loss and choosing either a moderate or a rapid approach, short structured deficits with refeeds. It's not, okay, guys, now we've built up your metabolism. Okay, here's that 1,400 calories again. And then we'll just go in that for the next 3 months until you lose the weight. That ain't it. That is not it. So we do use a rapid fat loss approach. You can lose 5 to 7 pounds in those 2 weeks, get some motivation, but we're also going to be identifying some habits that you have and creating a different lifestyle for yourself in this process as well. We also enjoy refeeds. So all of my clients were not in a deficit on Mother's Day. They had a free day. This is not a cheat meal, right? They just had an untracked day, but they have some resemblance of what to eat so that they're not just like totally losing their shit. We just had a 3-day weekend. Everybody had a refeed over the 3-day weekend where they're just not tracking, they're taking a break. And guess what? Not everybody, I did not get a bunch of text messages like, oh my God, I am up 5 pounds over this 3-day weekend. In fact, I got 2 messages like, oh my God, this is the first time that I have let go over a 3-day weekend and not gained 5 pounds. So this is how, when you increase your metabolism and then you do this in a structured manner, this is how you're going to be able to get the results that you want, and then being able to maintain that for life. But here's what you came for, right? You didn't come for this shit. You didn't come here to be like, don't tell me what to do, right? So I know some of you are just like, I'm only here to hear about this for the 14 days. So obviously I am not going to give you the formula that my clients pay me for the formula, okay? Sorry, but I think maybe you probably knew I wasn't going to give you the exact formula for that, but this is a 14-day structured protocol. The first 3 days are low fat and low carb, and then we gradually increase calories. So calories go up in increments. So the first 3 days are the hardest, but then they get more calories. So this makes it super, super easy to stick to. It is high protein. It's anywhere from 100 to 150 grams per day. This is to maintain muscle, right? We're also going to be dropping inflammation. This is not starvation, right? My clients aren't hungry. They're not starving, right? Yes, they might be a little bit hungry on those first 3 days, but even that is manageable. And that's the strategy. So this is, we cut them up for that first, right? So let's go into who is this for. You're ready, right? You are ready for an approach like this. If you are already hitting 120 to 150 grams of protein consistently, all right? So you guys can raise your hand if you're like, yep, I'm doing that. you are ready for this protocol if you've been tracking your food daily for at least the last 4 weeks. All right. And this is also for you if you are already eating enough, if you're at maintenance calories or recomp calories, not a deficit. Okay. Tracking your food daily. We already covered that. If you're strength training 3 to 4 times a week, right? This isn't a game changer for this one, but it is something that we would be doing, and you would be ready for this if you're also you're sleeping well, you have good energy, and you don't have any problems with digestion. All right. This approach would not be, you are not ready for this, and this doesn't count you out, but you're not ready for this if you're under eating right now, or if you're skipping meals, right? If you don't eat breakfast, if you're relying on cardio to lose weight, not doing any kind of strength training, if you're not tracking your macros or calories, or just doing that sporadically, if you're always tired, always bloated, moody, and if you're really stuck in this all or nothing mindset, right? You're like either perfect or you're like, screw it, like in that binge restrict cycle. I will say with the protocol that on the slide? No. All right, so back to the protocol. I will say we are not doing cardio at all with this protocol, right? It is lifting 3 to 4 days a week, and it is walking. You will not have the energy. You do not need, I shouldn't say, I think the energy will be fine, but we do not need to burn that energy that we're not getting because we're at low calorie. The results that you get, these fantastic results that you get, 5 to 7 pounds in those 2 weeks, does not come because you did cardio. In fact, if you do cardio, that is going to make you hungry. It's going to make you tired. It's going to make you feel depleted, right? Optavia gives you these warnings as well. So I don't know if you've ever heard about that, Optavia, where they're like, yeah, you're not going to be exercising on this program, all right? That is not where we are going with this. You are absolutely going to be doing strength training, but we are not going to burn energy that we do not have coming from calories by doing cardio. It is unnecessary and is going to be counterproductive to you when you are in this 2-week rapid fat loss phase. Now, I will say walking, but not walking to burn calories, right? Not doing a fast walk or you with your little fucking weighted vest. Like, chill. Just chill. We do not need to do cardio to lose weight on this. It will be counterproductive. I think that was pretty clear. This is not about starving yourself. This is a strategy. It's a strategy to drop fat fast. The more important thing is that we're going to be maintaining muscle and energy with this as well. This is why we have the parameters where they are. This is why we have protein needs set where they are. This is why we have carbs and fats set where they are. Yes, they're low, but they're not going to be to a point where you're just not going to have energy. So we want to make sure you're going to have enough calories for that. And then obviously, as you get more calories, we have more energy coming in. So it goes into ascending, which is super motivating. So I myself am going through, I've done this protocol twice. Right now I'm in more of an aggressive protocol to get ready for a photo shoot. But I forget where I was going with this. I think it was energy. I actually don't even know where I was going with this. As far as energy goes, like, this isn't going to completely deplete your energy, but the first 3 days, I know where I was going with this. So the first 3 days are definitely going to be a little bit of a challenge, because guess what? We're giving up cream in our coffee. We're giving up alcohol. We're giving up all processed foods. There's just no room for all of your little popcorn and chocolate and all this. I'm talking to me, right? These are the things that I enjoy on my daily. You know, when you don't have those available to you, this is how we're clearing up that inflammation. We're taking out those ultra processed foods out of the diet because it just doesn't fit. And then as you get more calories, then we can start to see, what are we adding in? But this approach has helped my clients completely change the way that they look at food. They're taking a look at their habits. It gives a huge spotlight on their habits. I've done, if you've listened to my podcast, listen to Robin. She was like, oh my God. It's like, I didn't realize how many calories were in whipped cream. And so she was having whipped cream almost every day out of the can. And then she looked at the can one day and she was like, oh my God, there's like 35 servings in this can. And she had like half a can. So it's just highlighting some of those things that we're doing. You have to let it change you, right? You're going to have some realizations about yourself. Food is very much pervasive in our community, in our social life, but we also have habits that we have, right? That 2 o'clock, and I'm talking to me again, right? That popcorn and that chocolate is calling me. That's a freaking habit that I have. It's 2 o'clock. It's time to go and get myself my popcorn and my chocolate snack. I know when it's 9 o'clock, right? It's wine o'clock. 9 o'clock, it is time for me to pour a glass of wine. That is a habit. That is not something that for the social norm, right? That is something that is just ingrained into me. It's because that's what I do. And so it puts a spotlight on some of these habits because those things are going to have to go away for a little bit, for 2 weeks, right? Going out to restaurants, not happening over this 2-week protocol because there's just no way that you're going to be able to track accurately when you go to a restaurant. And you'll probably lose your shit when you go to the restaurant too. All of a sudden, you don't even really care about potato skins, but like the fact that you can't have it, now you really want it. So I will say, yeah, there are definitely some parameters here, and this is how my clients are successful with this. I think we talked about that. So again, the reason that my clients are getting these results is because they have met the prerequisites before they even take this approach. I do not dump anybody into this. I get so many messages, hey, because I have clients that are starting up this on this Friday. They're going to be wrapping up on Friday right before Father's Day. So I do this once a month as a group for my clients because it's way more exciting to do this as a group. It's, oh, hell yeah. We get our meals together. We plan everything. We're like, what are you doing? Let me share yours. Like, share. Oh, shit, that's a great idea, right? I'm having trouble doing mine, right? So we do this as a group. It's way more motivating. I do this once a month with my clients. And some of them they'll do a couple of them, right? Because they have more weight to lose. But this is just one phase of how you're going to change your body. Again, your best body isn't built by being in a deficit. The real results come from your habits, not just the calories. And so we use refeeds, reverse dieting, and diet breaks so that my clients are not always in a freaking diet. They are going to be getting a diet break over, I should say, a refeed over Father's Day. And they're not going to gain all the weight that they lost back. And so building that confidence and that freedom to choose the foods that you want, this is how you stop that starting over every single Monday, right? Every time you have yourself a little weekend that you're like, oh man, I'm up freaking 3 pounds, and then it takes you until Thursday to lose that 3 pounds, right? Being ultra good. And then the weight just gains, and then you repeat that cycle over and over. This is a lifestyle. These are habits that we have to overcome. And so this two weeks with rapid fat loss is great for highlighting that habits. But I think it's really important to say, you don't just dump anybody into this right away. So they definitely have to meet the prerequisites. And it's okay if you're not ready for this yet, right? If your metabolism isn't ready for this yet, because we can just get you set up for that with like phase one, making sure that you are hitting protein goals, making sure that you are tracking accurately, that we're not just having these blowouts on the weekend and we're not dieting already going into this process. Because if you do this too soon, it's going to backfire on you and the results aren't going to be as good as they can. You'll lose your energy, be frustrated, and you just really haven't changed anything yet. That's going to be the most effective for you. We teach our clients how to take those breaks, how to enjoy food without tracking forever. This isn't something that you're just going to keep doing over and over and over, but we can do it in strategically timed out, and that's really going to be client specific, to be honest. Using this kind of protocol with a moderate approach as well, it's going to be letting you have plenty of the things that you do want. In the 2-week rapid fat loss, yes, we are eliminating alcohol and some of those treats you might be used to having, but that is not how my clients live on the regular, right? They do this strict for 2 weeks, but in their usual, we're doing lifestyle fat loss. So lifestyle fat loss means having the foods that you really enjoy. It's not about you not having chocolate at all. It's not about you pulling out alcohol out of your diet. It's not about you going sugar-free. It's not about you eating clean. That is not our approach that we take, right? It's very much a macros-based approach. And this is how my clients are losing fat and not muscle. And this is why you have tone and definition when you're done. And so this is how you change your body and your mindset. That's how you get to your goal, and then stay there without obsessing over food or the number on the scale. And so when this is done right, the results are pretty spectacular. While I did say you wouldn't do this over and over, we did. One of the reasons I came up with this protocol was because, and hear me out here. All right. So once in a while, okay, pretty often, I'll get somebody who's been in a deficit, right? And they've had diet breaks and they've been at 1,500 calories. And they're like, you know what? This 1,500 calories isn't working for me anymore. And that begs the question, you know where I'm going with this? Are you actually eating 1,500 calories? So probably not, right? If you were eating 1,500 calories, very specifically, so this is Carol on the right, she was 170 when she first started with us. We had to bring her down to 1,500 calories, and it just stopped working. All of a sudden, right? She was doing really well, and then she had herself a little weekend. You can see, and that weekend just didn't like. Then she just went into like a little bit of a spiral here. I don't know how to erase that. So what happened was like, all right, you know what? I have this approach. I've used this for myself. I think this might be something that would be helpful for you. And so we did it. Holy shit. Yes. Did it work? Because she was losing, right? But then she got into where it really wasn't working anymore. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with this client? Put her in a 1,300 calorie deficit where she had already lost 10 pounds. She's 160 pounds. Like, no, you absolutely cannot do that. You don't just keep dumping calories because your weight loss isn't happening. It's usually because of something else. And obviously there are going to be metabolic adaptations. This is why we do diet breaks, so that you get out of that. But we did this approach for her. She did it twice, and now she's to her goal weight. And you can just see fat came off, looks amazing. So she got her results. Then she travels quite a bit. We went up just a little bit and then came down and then again, right? And then down. So you can see she just changed her body composition. So this is the approach. This is when I was like, you know what? I think I need to do this more for my clients because it really highlighted what she was doing. She was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I wasn't eating the 1,500 calories. And here's the thing, like when you do an approach like this, now when you go back to a regular deficit, you're like, wow, this is a lot of food. So, it's about lifestyle. I don't think like people realize like how much crap they're just putting in their body that just adds up, right? It just adds up. That's star beans and this and that thing that you got to have. Like literally, if you could just give up one Starbucks drink a day, you'd probably do all right. It really depends on the habits. But somebody called me out because I'm doing an aggressive diet. It's triple digits, guys, triple fucking digit calories, right? I don't love it, but I'm also not hungry. And somebody said, that is not healthy. You need to slow your roll. You need to eat 1,500 calories for your weight. And I'm like, for what? Because the calories that I'm eating are supporting my muscle and supporting my metabolism. I am eating ultra healthy foods. I wouldn't say ultra clean. I'm having Heinz gravy. I'm having Egg Life wraps. I'm having Diet Dr. Pepper. Like I'm not eating clean, but guess what? The calories that I am having are going towards my metabolism, towards my muscle. If I'm eating 1,500 calories, guess what? I'm eating fucking wheat thins. I'm having cheese sticks. There's nothing wrong with cheese sticks. I do have the occasional cheese stick. I'm putting junk in there because I can. Because I can. I could even sneak in a glass of wine. What is that doing for my body? Nothing. So don't come at me with this. Like, it's not healthy, because I think some of the things that we fill our days with aren't healthy. And that is fine.
That's not really the point here. I will say the foods that I am prioritizing right now, it is not unhealthy. This one, you might have seen her. This is Jen. So she lost 6 pounds. She lost 4.25 inches. She lost 2% body fat in 14 days. She just wrapped hers up. She did hers on her own. She was already clean, but she was just frustrated. She's just like, so she actually started with, Terry, if you could stop doing that, would be great. I don't know what, I think you're trying to zoom in. I'll share this guy. I'll share this. I'm not going to share the slides. I guess I can, but I'll share this with you when I send out the replay. But so she started with us, right? And she's tall, all right? And so she started with us, and you can see the timeline. So we had her in that primer phase. We had to get her ready because guess what? She's fucking eating 1,200 calories. She wasn't eating enough protein. She was skipping meals. She was doing a ton of cardio. So we had to get her ready for this phase. It was hard. She didn't like it. She didn't like it. She didn't like it one bit. Because she came to us to lose weight, and I said, you got to slow your roll. We are going to lose weight, but we have to get some things in line first before we even take this approach. So that's what we did. And you can see, like, her weight stayed the freaking same. Like, she had this big drop, which she was super excited about. I'm like, that's not supposed to happen. You're in maintenance. And so it evened out. And then boom, right on that 4-week mark, we're like, let's do it. And then you just see the drop, right? Where she just dropped 6 pounds. That's the process. You can see, even though, and this is super, super important, right? Even though, and I keep trying to say to my clients, like, hey, you are losing inches in this primer phase. She lost 1.5, let me see, 4. She lost 1.5 inches in her navel alone, right? Her belly was already shrinking when she did this. So this isn't her day one picture. This is her at the beginning of this 2-week phase, right? Her day one picture shows more inches on, right? A little bit more body fat on. So this was the change that she got in those 2 weeks. And so what we see with female body compositions, we start to see the belly comes in, right? Usually when you're trying to lose fat, belly and breasts are at the same line, right? When we lose body fat, we start to see belly fat comes off first. We start to see breasts become lifted, and we start to see the stomach coming in. We start to see a little bit of a booty lift. We start to see less of that bra bulge in the back. So that's what it looks like when we look at pictures, like a month 1, a month 2, a month 3 are those changes. I think that concludes my presentation. What questions do you guys have? You can unmute yourself and ask. Bueller? All right. So if you are unsure if you are ready for this approach, you can take my metabolic assessment. You know what? I had it all queued up and ready to go. Let me stop my share. Hold on. So I do have an assessment that you can take. It's completely free. And let me go to the chat. I'll drop it in there. Oh, there was some stuff in there. Okay. No, I want to, but I don't know what my mindset and kitchen is fully prepared. I don't know that my mindset and kitchen is fully prepared. Okay. How many grams a day are you considering low fat and low carb? It really depends on the individual. We solve for protein and we solve for the rest of the calories. It's based on their weight, and that's how we come up with a formula for how we are going to prescribe the rest of those macros. We make sure that we're getting anywhere from 120 to 150 grams of protein. So let me drop the link for my metabolic assessment. If you guys don't want to unmute, you can always type your questions in there. I'm just grabbing that assessment link, putting that in the chat. It takes like 2 minutes to do, and then I will give you a little feedback on that. But if you're like, you know what, I think I'm ready. If you think you're ready, right, still take the assessment. But if you're like, I am sick of this shit, I'm tired of spinning my wheels, I want to lose 5 to 7 pounds by the 4th of July, then book a call with me, right? That's going to be the fastest way that you're going to get results. My program is 3 months, 12 weeks, 90 days, however you want to look at that. And I will blah, blah, blah. I am going to drop the link for my application, and then that's going to give you like a little video. It doesn't say this, but the application and then a booking link for next week. I do have some time tomorrow. Well, I can't find my links. Oh, booking links, there it is. All right, so I will drop that. But this isn't a call for coaching, right? This was like, if you're ready to do coaching, then let's go. But fill out the assessment. And if you're like, I am absolutely ready, dang it, I'm trying to just get to my chat. How I get anything done is beyond me, to tell you the truth. Chat, there it is. All right. So that's basically the process. I have literally given you my whole coaching process. And I know some of you might be a little pissed off right now that you didn't get the 5 to 7, the protocol and exactly what you're going to do to lose 5 to 7 pounds over the next 14 days. But that doesn't, I don't know if you're ready for that, right? It is very much going to be independent. If you're already in a deficit, that is not going to be conducive to you losing 5 to 7 pounds. Right? It is not going to be conducive because your metabolism is just, what the fuck? Again, what are we doing? What are you doing to me? That's the response that your body has, like to something like this would be, and I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but it's not going to be the best thing to do for your metabolism. So we want to be very protective of that, especially when you are. Menopause is just this heightened state of stress. We're super susceptible to stress. So we have to come out of that state before we do something like this. This is, and I'm not going to say it's not hardcore. It's not hardcore, but it is definitely going to be a stressor on the body. And so that was one thing we didn't address. I've had clients try hey, guess what? I'm ready. I'm going to do this, right? Because they want to do it with the group. And then all of a sudden something shitty happens, right? Their dog dies or their husband loses their job or shitty things. And now they have this stress and they're trying to do this. They're like, I just want to lose these 5 to 7 pounds. I want to do this, right? And I'm like, get out, protect yourself. And they're like, I'm finding it really hard to stick to. Of course you are, because it's such a stress. So you do have to be in the mindset for it, right? You have to be ready. You have to know, I got 2 weeks cleared with nothing going on. Obviously, we don't know what something shitty is going to happen. But when you look, like, so when I do this timing for my clients, I'm looking to see, I'm like, I don't know if we're doing one in July, right? I'm going to float it by my clients because who wants to, right? But I know I'm going to have a handful that are going to be like, you know what, I don't have anything on. I've got 4th of July, and then I got this, and I got this freaking wedding that I got coming up at the end of July that I want to look good for. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. So hopefully that kind of addresses that concern is you're in a stress state going through the menopausal changes, right? If you're having hot flashes, night sweats, you're having trouble sleeping. I'm not going to say it's not that you can't do this process, but you've got to prime yourself first by not being in a deficit. So hopefully that makes sense. I know you're like, God, I just want to do this. I get it. My clients are the same way. They pay me for me to go through all these mindset changes because it does mess with your mind. But the setup is crucial. And it's also very conducive to having a highly effective fat loss phase as well. I could give you the exact protocol and then half of you are just going to not be able to follow it or be like, what? I don't even know how to track macros. I did this as a beta group for some people last summer. And that's when I realized you don't just unleash something like this on the public because they couldn't follow it. So there's definitely some parameters that you have to follow and those prerequisites. So I'm not going to go over everything all over again. I'm just trying to highlight the importance of why I'm not giving you the protocol to just dump yourself into this for the next 2 weeks and give you an understanding of how it works. My clients, for the most, not every single damn one, but most of them have found this to be very freeing and very much of an eye-opener on the habits and the lifestyle that they have. And they've realized, like, I actually don't need to have this X, Y, and Z. I didn't actually realize how much blah, 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 blah. One example was the client. I already used the example of Robin. You can listen on my podcast. You'll see Rapid Fat Loss, right? With Robin, Rapid Fat Loss with Jennifer, what their experience was going through that. So you can hear, and you'll hear like what their calories were at and stuff. But you'll hear like the things that they have uncovered and they have learned for themselves, the things that they have found to be a habit. I've completely identified my habits that I have of my love of popcorn and chocolate, and I pulled that out, and guess what? After you pull it out for a few days, like some things like are really hard to give up, like fucking cream in your coffee. Shoot me now. I'm just not going to have coffee. I tried that. And then I'm like, damn it, I love coffee. So I'm just going to try it without cream. So I made that concession, but that was a choice, right? But I'm also putting in 50 to 75 calories of heavy cream in my coffee. And now I don't have to do that anymore. So it's those little things that you identify. One of my clients with her M&Ms, right? I use this one as an example quite a bit. The M&Ms on her coworker's desk. I don't keep candy in my house, but my coworker, oh, we're gonna dish some tea. I'm only letting myself have five times a day. So that adds up. It's that little stuff, right? That we create those little habits for yourselves. And I don't think you realize like how much this stuff adds up. And I'm not saying like the 25 M&Ms isn't the end of the world, but sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 35, sometimes it's like, those are little things that just don't get accounted for that are leading to. So again, habits that we're probably not super cognizant of that are causing you to your 1,500 calorie diet not to be working, right? That seems to be like the number that everybody is at. And so it's just a string cheese. Like I don't have to log it. Like cool, right? It's how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? And so when you are so specific and so strategic with this, then guess what? It crowds out that stuff. You can't have that. It's like all of a sudden, that's right. I don't have room for that today. We're not having that today. Whoa, lo and behold, this actually works because we're not having that stuff over and over.